So maybe I can start with the ladies at the end of the panel. How do you actually go about, or what do you think is the best way to go about making a business case for implementing smart technology, Raeda?
I think within the asset management space, the business case will have to look at the benefit of investing early on in technology to address asset management issues. So if you look at the cost of integrating technology, that's not really a high cost. It's the cost of changing the processes. It's the cost of actually bringing in the right human capital to manage that ICT technology platform. The other part is actually making the business cases, looking at the use of technology for predictive analysis for asset management. So if you run scenarios for your asset management, looking at alternative uses for the asset itself, optimizing the operations for the asset itself. I mean, looking at these options will help you make the business case. In terms of what really matters to the asset owners is reduced cost over the life cycle of an asset and increased revenues. So if you can make the case on these two options, I think for the management, it's easy for them to make that decision. Budgeting is a big issue as well. We have challenges with budgeting, especially major assets here in this country or in this region is run by government. So we know the budget and the government is actually, there is a liquidity issue in the market. There is priority projects that needs to be actually funded. So how do you make the budgeting case as well? And if you look at what's going around, especially in Dubai, it's the move to P3 initiatives. It's actually involving the private sector and investment in such cases. So I think it goes down to what is it in store for the asset owner. It's the revenue, increased revenue, it's a reduced cost overall. It's being able to predict your maintenance cycles, make them longer rather than shorter. Looking at the non-monetary value as well. So, for example, transport for London, asset managers look at lost customer time in terms of commuting. And in Dubai specifically, we know that happiness is a big thing. So looking at that as a return on the investment. Because if you want to really increase the happiness index in Dubai, which is a priority, then you have to actually invest more technology to support services, quality, ensure a continuous quality delivery of your service as an asset. I think these are the things that you need to look at in terms of how you make the business case.
Yeah, I think one of the key items that you mentioned there was things like whole life costing. Looking at, I think Ekin from the previous panel, he mentioned that there's a big difference between the lowest price and the lowest cost. Wafa, you're obviously from a ministry background. What sort of innovations are you looking at to make these things happen? No. I think we've got some.
Yeah, I think
we have the national agenda of UAE that to have sustainable infrastructure, and this is, we have and the strategy of the ministry. So we have to work, for our all buildings and assets towards, to be smart, to be energy saving and water saving and all that. So we put like a roadmap for that, and we have lots of pilot projects to show that it is working. And we now into smart buildings. We are working on. If we go, some buildings go make it smart. What is the return of investment and all the other, benefits. And we found this. We have. I think. From the first result, we have to go. It's. The return of investment is very, very good, and for the life cycle of the asset, it enhances, and and it is sustainable at the same time.
You mentioned pilot studies. Have you got any interesting pilot studies that you're looking at the moment?
We have 3,400 buildings.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, this is what, and we have, I mean, some of the buildings is big, like hospitals, and some of them medium and some of them small. So we have different, like we are working on hospitals, and we are working on school, some offices, and I mean, the investment is, is encouraging. I mean, the return of investment is encouraging to go ahead with it. And this is our, now strategy. We have to do it.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah.
So Norm, maybe from a consultant's perspective, are you seeing clients looking at things like whole life costing, whole life return on investments, or do you think that's something that can be driven by things like smart technology?
Certainly, I mean, RTA is one of them. We're working closely with them on a particular project that really they're looking at certain tools to really help them doing that analysis. I'd like to go back on the ROI thing, and how to convince or build the business case for a budget. Really, and then you mentioned pilot. I guess if you look at there are a lot of proofing cases out there, like Barcelona, Singapore, London, New York, where they've implemented smart city technologies.
So for things, we've just mentioned there, I think everybody was talking about things about asset management. So things that could easily be retrofitted are things like RFID tagging and sort of understanding the asset. But particularly here in the UAE and Dubai, are you looking at things like smart sensors within bridges and things like that, so that you can actually maintain your assets predictively when they actually need it, rather than doing a regular maintenance or things like that?
Let me tell you, usually in RTA, we have a system to collect the suggestions from the employees or from outside, from our supply chain. And usually we have workshops and meetings with our supply chain contractors, consultants, to collect their feedback and getting the benefit of the lessons learned from our project. When it comes to the related subject matter expert, he validated, or they validated, in order to go to the next step.
Again, RTA is a pioneer in the area. We're engaged with them and we see what they're doing in the area, and there's other, excellence, the center of excellence elsewhere within the region where they focus on BIM. But yeah, absolutely. But the level of, do I see it, spreading? Yes, I do. But it's going to take time. It's going to take time and effort first to raise the awareness, to understand what BIM is. People think BIM is a tool. BIM is not a tool. BIM is a process enabled by technology, and it really brings a great deal of benefits, both at the design stage of an asset, to the commissioning and the O&M stage of the asset. So back to your point, do I see it, spreading? Yes, I do. And with institutions like BSI and other educational institution, with their help, that was going to raise that awareness at the client level to the level of what the RTA has achieved, where the scope of delivering on BIM by the consultants becomes clearer, because right now there are tenders out there from other parts of the region where you see that the BIM scope is not clear, is vague. It leaves the consultants at wondering what that is, and it takes a longer time for the procurement process to conclude until you basically ring fence the scope with the client. But over time, I see that give it probably 2 to 3 years, it's going to subside and becomes a more mature market.
Okay, excellent. Well, Wafa, From your perspective, what are the technologies that are going to be coming up or being released soon, or that you're actually looking at within your pilot schemes that are going to make the biggest impact on the value of assets and the length of life of assets? Microphone.
In our roadmap sustainability, we provide facility management and control systems. Control systems, it is like mobile application for all the assets, and it will be monitored from one place, and it will reduce the job order. From like now we have 5 stages, it will be 2 stages from the end user to the to the like contractor.
So that's smart technology actually changing the way the organization operates to streamline organizational operations.
Yeah, and the facility management is, as well, it will be facility management, the control system, it will be implemented, integrated into the facility management with other, other softwares, so it will help. It will help a lot for, all our authorities and ministries, our partners, to give them better service and.
So you see the more nearer advances coming through software and data management,
and smart as well.
Obviously.
Now we put strategy for all that. Smart. Now we just waiting for the results, and we know that we will get a good result. From that.
Excellent. Thank you. Raida, what areas do you see the sort of technological advancements happening? Where do you see the next sort of steps for the UAE in particular that are going to become apparent to sort of increase the ROI on assets?
One of the things that technology will enable is how do you use the data that you gather for your assets. So first of all, it's the connectivity. So you need to connect everything. Mm-hmm. So when we talk on the world of internet of everything, even people are connected. So even your employees in a real time should be connected and information is gathered. At the same time, it's the real-time analysis of that information. So there is a lot of commercially available software, off-the-shelf or tailored solution that third parties can provide. The challenges and what organizations and authorities need to look at is it's basically what you put in, you get out. It's the quality of data. It's whether you have structured or unstructured data that you're gathering, and the volume. To be able to do correct predictive analysis, you need masses of volumes of data, which in this country we're still, I think, gathering. One of the things that Dubai did, which was very smart, is the data portal, the open data portal that they created last year, which by all the authorities and even the private sector can open their data to the masses. And we've heard from the panel before how, when in the city of Glasgow, when they opened their data to people, the applications that were developed were even better than the ones that they worked on and paid for. I think it's that innovation part that will help. So looking at that challenge is very important. You can bring the best technology, the best sensors, have the best connected system in your organization, but if you don't know how to collect the right data, mine, analyze, and predict, that will be hard. I think what technology, I'm a big believer in, like Noor said, the enabling part of technology. So like mobile phones, you have various brands, but how do you use them? So the one thing that companies or authorities need to look at is the interface with the technology. So the simpler the interface, whether for employees or the customers, the easier that you can actually access data, the better predictive analysis you have. So you can predict your maintenance cycles, you can even predict risk failures and risk assessment. You can do run to failure without even doing it, damaging physical assets. And I think that's that's where the decision has to be made from the management on how to invest in technology when looking for the right technology.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. I think we're just about complete on our time for the discussion. So what I'd like to do is throw it open to our guests here. and give people an opportunity to ask some questions of the panel. Is there any questions? Well, let me fire off a quick question to our panel while people think of their questions. Would anybody like to comment on Raya's last what she was talking about, the fact that there is a lot of data that could be made available, that we're not actually currently, as we sit here, making best use of the data that could be made available? Do you think government should be more open with the data that is out there already?
Absolutely. The most important thing right now in this, let's say, decade and the last decade also, is the information. This eye is very important. Everybody can have this eye, but the issue is how to utilize the benefit of it for your business is the issue. So you need to be sharp and use the exact and the suitable tool or the technique that you need in order to get the benefit for you as a business owner at the end of the day. We have a very big warehouse of data coming from different type of software. But again, how you will get the benefit of these information in order to enhance and to optimize the business that you are doing and getting, of course, the return of investment being better.
Ryder mentioned to me earlier about an RTA application that's going to be coming out shortly with regard to traveling around Dubai.
This will be communicated on time in a proper way. But again, we in RTA doing our best. Actually, it is a task for everybody, all the days, during your job, to find the best solution that can minimize the time, maximize the return of investment, getting the customer satisfaction, because we are delivering a lot of services to customers in licensing, in road, in buses, in taxis. All these things, you cannot manage them. You cannot get the satisfaction of your customer without being used the best way of dealing with the information available from different type of applications. So now we are checking. It's a continuous trend that we are doing to check the best and the smart technology applications in order to get back with the fruit to our customers.
Okay. Excellent. Has anybody... Oh, we've got a question at the back, I think.
We are moving towards the smart technology and smart infrastructures, but after developing many roads and metro networks, still I found that in Dubai, between the two destinations, traveling time is not reduced, and basically it is a man-hour loss for the Dubai people. So how we are going to reduce the traveling time between the two destinations?
So your question is regard to how can we look at...
Yeah, because it is also one kind of a return of investment or customer satisfaction when we are developing so many networks, road networks, metro networks, but ultimately we are not achieving the goal to reduce the time between the two destinations.
Okay.
I'll take that on.
Yeah, sure, no.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that's an issue that has been acknowledged, in Dubai, and the problem being, and it's being worked on to resolve it. The problem being that 11% of the roads in Dubai is covered by ITS, an intelligent traffic, system. And with a network like this, if it's only 11%, it's very hard to manage the traffic. And right now, Dubai has embarked on an ITS design project. It's still in the design stage, which can be, later on, implemented by a contractor to really resolve this issue.
Okay. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Okay. Any other questions for the panel before we wrap this up? Okay. I think we've covered everything there. So I'd just like to thank the panel. It's been a very interesting discussion. I've been very pleased to meet you all. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.